In this video on C# Basics, we're going to be talking about object-oriented programming. This is probably a term you've heard used frequently when discussing C#, since C# is an object-oriented programming language. So first, let's go out to try to define what object-oriented programming is. Object-oriented programming is a programming methodology that uses objects as the foundational concept. Now, I wrote this paragraph out here to try to give you a better understanding of why object-oriented programming is so important. We use object-oriented programming to better organize our code and manage relationships between the different pieces of code. Object-oriented programming allows us to be more efficient with designing complex concepts, more organized in the code maintenance and changes, and makes the code versatile so that components of our code can be used in multiple places. So there's a lot of benefit to using object-oriented programming languages, and C# offers a lot of syntax that allows us to make our code object-oriented. No discussion about object-oriented programming would be complete without a discussion about the pillars of object-oriented programming. Typically, you'll hear that there are 3 pillars of object-oriented programming, and sometimes one is interchanged with another, but I actually like to define this as 4 pillars of object-oriented programming. The typical 3 pillars that you will hear about for object-oriented programming are encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and the 4th one is abstraction. Now, oftentimes polymorphism and abstraction will be switched around, but really, I view abstraction as the ultimate goal of the other 3 pillars, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in this video. So the first pillar of object-oriented programming is encapsulation, and encapsulation helps by binding together pieces of code and keeps it obscure to prevent outside changes. The next pillar is inheritance, and inheritance is about basing one type or class on another type, allowing us to reuse pre-written code. The third pillar is polymorphism, and this one's a bit more difficult to wrap your head around. Essentially, polymorphism is a way to present the same type or class, but the definitions of members perform differently. Now finally, there's abstraction. And abstraction is the penultimate use of all 3 of the other pillars. Abstraction offers an indirect usage of encapsulated code, it provides a class to inherit from, and provides no specific action or data, just defines the members. The ultimate goal of object-oriented programming is to get to a state of total abstraction,